Thank you for joining us. You're watching the Karma Network. We're at the Concordia Summit. My name is Mariam Ishani, and I'm speaking with Nicola Gryczka from Gastromotiva. And it's really exciting the work that you do, and I'm going to let you describe it in detail because it's a lot of different things. But you're here at Concordia dealing with one of the highest order issues that this entire summit is dealing with, and that is obviously the sustainability goals, but the environment and climate change. Tell me the impact that Gastromotiva is trying to make in this area.
So Gastromotiva is a social organization founded in Brazil by Chef David Hertz. And what we do, we take the transformative power of food to respond to modern challenges. So food being at the center of everything pretty much, right? We all think about food. We eat, hopefully most of us here, 3 times a day. And so we want to leverage this and use it towards the SDGs, towards the problematics of the world. So from solving unemployment, malnourishment, the double burden. We also now started tackling food waste, because obviously food waste is a huge issue on all levels, talking about climate change. Food waste was a country, it would be the 3rd largest in terms of emissions behind China and the US. So that's a real problem. And so what Gastromotiva does in the area of food waste, currently we transform food surplus into healthy meats for people in need in Brazil. And now we started a new sustainable and replicable social business model where we as well started a food product line. We work through education so that we sensibilize the consumers. We have an education platform, and so these are all very exciting advances that we're here at Concordia and in New York sharing right now with other stakeholders.
Thank you. So at Karma Network, we try to look at what we think are some of the big numbers that are associated with this issue. And one that we hear that's very overwhelming is 400 parts per million CO2 that we currently have in our atmosphere, which is well above where we want to be. What's the number that you look at in your day-to-day that you go, this is the number that I lose sleep about, or that I want to see come down or up?
So, I mean, very easy, because then, even we realize now, talking to a colleague here in the US, you use different numerations than in Brazil or in Europe. So tons might not mean anything here. So I'm not even going to talk in tons, but just take our main supplier in Rio de Janeiro. We recuperate 1 truck of food surplus every month, and only this one supplier sends 20 back to trash every day. So that means 400 trucks on a monthly basis, and we just cover 1. So the potential is, of what we can do is huge. And what we need to do, because we all have a responsibility to do something, right? Because we're talking at the SDGs, we need to feed the world. Well, with all the food that we waste, we could actually feed the entire world.
In addition to obviously the waste and the fact that there are people who could benefit from this food, food waste isn't just occupying landfill space, it's producing harmful CO2. Can you explain that a little bit to us?
Yes, so
it has
a
that
number,
double barrel impact.
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely. No, so one of the numbers that we use is by ReFed, which is a Rockefeller-sponsored organization here in the US. It's 3.09 times. So if you have 1 ton of food, that represents basically 3 times the amount in CO2 emissions in tons.
So if I'm a consumer, and when we talk about food waste, we mean like food that is literally leaving grocery stores unused and untouched, and it's perfectly good, or it's not even being put on the shelves because it's got a bruise, and we want things to be perfect. As a consumer, how can I let a grocery store that's local, and I don't live in Rio de Janeiro, but how can I let my local Whole Foods or my local Aristides or a market here in New York know that I'm okay with food not being perfect and not wasting it?
So you actually have a tendency, like France is very advanced. First of all, they changed legislation so that supermarkets are obliged to give away their food at night, because before they weren't even allowed to give it away. And so part of that trend and these movements in France, there's as well a supermarket that started exhibiting the products that don't match our beauty standards that we have nowadays, and had a special section with discounts, so as well giving access to people that might have not had the access or means to buy certain food products. And this became so viral that they switched it into being like a whole supermarket. And so you have organizations like Oz Harvest from Australia. They as well built a supermarket that sells these sort of products that are about to expire, or that has products that weren't good enough for the shelf. They resell it. Well, they don't really resell it. You can pay what you think it's worth. So I don't know if you've heard about them, and that's going viral as well. So all these sort of like bottom-up innovations are happening, and the consumer, by buying and supporting these sort of initiatives, will change the mindset as well of the big corporations.
So what does that mean for people who are dealing with food scarcity? Like, walk me through this process. This food leaves the grocery stores and it just becomes available to people who are dealing with food scarcity?
You mean what we're doing in France currently, or
Gastromotiva would like to see?
What we'd like to see, I mean, food waste happens along the value chain, right? So each region or each country has a different issue. In Africa, it's on production and logistical issues. So they don't even get to the supermarkets. Here in the US, you have about 40% that gets wasted at home. So the responsibility lies with us as well. Yes.
Or thrown away.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, and the supermarkets is another. So it's really the consumer level, so the distribution and the consumer level where the problem happens. And so, I think we all have that responsibility to inform ourselves what to do with it so that it doesn't happen, and purchase smarter so that it actually gets to the people in need. I think I went a little bit further away from your question,
but so you're here at Concordia. This isn't your first time at the Concordia Summit. So what are some of the partners and individuals that you are looking to connect with here who can help you achieve this goal?
I actually have great news because we just closed the 3-year partnership with Cargill International.
Oh, wow.
So these are the sort of partners, people that work in the industry, but I think it's about the multi-stakeholder approach. So government representatives who want to work with us as much as these big corporations that have just the same responsibility as us towards the other human beings, right? And so these partnerships, I want to see more. I hope there are more Cargills out there to drive it forward and not just think about it as philanthropy, that they need to invest in social causes or environmental causes, but I really feel that they're part of this movement. And so I think that's what we're seeking out at events as Concordia, the World Economic Forum, and to spread the word of the power of the social gastronomy, as we call it.
Well, we feel really fortunate to congratulate you then live on air for this extraordinary feat, because we know every inch made towards these goals, the SDGs, particularly when it comes to climate change, are going to be some of the most challenging because of lack of political will in different areas. Are you seeing more political will and positive support than maybe people hear about when it comes to the diplomatic level or the governmental level?
I do. I think there are countries that are more advanced than others, but by setting these standards, by driving this, others will follow as well. And so I just came from the UNGA actually, where there was a session on land usage, landfills, right? So organized by the EAT Foundation, but in partnership with so many other governments and stakeholders. And so these sort of things, they are the way forward. So it's happening. It needs to happen quicker, but we're going in the right direction.
Thank you. So we'll let you get to those high-level meetings then, because this is a lofty goal. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks
You're
so
watching
much.
the Karma Network. I've just been speaking to Nicola Gryczka from Gastromotiva. You have to look up the work that they're doing in food waste management. We're excited to follow more about this collaboration with Cargill and to see where you are next year at Concordia when you're back here sitting with us telling us about the new numbers that you're looking at.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.